Welcome back to the Athlete Hackers Podcast. My name is Chris Schrade.
And I am Mark Spellman. Thank you guys for joining us today. We will get to our guest in 1 second, but first, our last episode, we had the wonderful Molly Benetti from the University of South Carolina women's basketball program on. And I think Chris will agree that, it was one of our better episodes.
Yeah, you don't often get to spend an hour with someone who's kind of in the midst of greatness every day. You know, national championship, professional athletes, Olympic players and coaches. So getting that insight into what walking those halls are like around that greatness was awesome. That's all I'm going to give. If you want to hear it, go listen.
I think one of the big things, and as our guest today will attest to, success and greatness leaves clues. So if you want to be great, find out what the people that are doing great things are doing and do what they do. I mean, it's one of those things. It's kind of fun. It's kind of an easy concept, but it's harder to put in practice. So without further ado, our guest today, my man from deep down in the wonderful world of Florida. It's been my honor, my privilege. I've known this gentleman for a little over 2 years, maybe 2 years now. We got together through a program, and somebody we'll talk about more in depth. Jeremy Boone got in the group, was able to meet this gentleman that we're going to talk to today, Coach Matt Booth. It is my honor, my privilege to have you on the show.
Thanks
and
for coming on, Coach.
We'll be able to dive a little deeper into the wonderful world of high school strength and conditioning, athletic performance, and leadership. How are you, Matt?
I'm good, fellas, man. First of all, I'm a little jealous that you guys had Molly on because Molly's an absolute beast. So I'm excited to check that out. But I appreciate you guys having me on today. I'm fired up. Like Mark was saying, that we've known each other for 2 years, and Mark has pushed me to be a better strength and conditioning coach, and I'm excited to dive into and meeting Chris a little bit more. So I'm ready to get rolling here, fellas.
Awesome. Why don't you give a little insight to our listeners, who you are, what you're currently doing, and what got you there?
Man, so it's crazy to think, like, I'm going into year 21 now coaching. I'm down here in Fort Meyers, Florida. I'm originally from Massachusetts. Moved down to Florida in 2005. It really was like a random move. I was like, you know what? I was young. I was like, I'm coming down to Florida. It was honestly the best move I've ever made. I've had the chance to work with some amazing athletes down here, build some great connections. I actually met my wife down here. So it's been a great experience. Again, I can't believe it's already year 21. Like, I really haven't worked a day of my life. Like, it's the best job in America. I know, Mark, you can speak to that. And so, I mean, really, like, every day I just show up, like, it's the best thing. It's the best experience, especially being able to work with high school athletes and just seeing them grow every single day. Like, that's really my purpose of showing up to work every day. So really excited to be here and excited to dive into some of these topics.
They're good athletes in South Florida.
Yeah, they're pretty good. So I'll tell you guys a story real quick. So the first time I moved down here, it's 2005, and I'm from Massachusetts. So football really wasn't that big, and they're like, "Hey, coach, you need to go to this high school football game." I'm like, "High school football game?" I'm like, "All right, I'll go to the game." And I show up, and ESPN is there. And there's this young man named Noel Devine, who running back from North Fort Myers High School. He just got named to West Virginia Hall of Fame football team. And like, the moment this boy touched the ball, I was like, man, I need to get my life together because it's a whole different type of athlete down here. So what was cool is a couple of years later, Noel and I actually started training together. So I worked with him for about 6 years. But Mark, I'm telling you, like you said, it's completely different down here in South Florida.
I think that's the same thing that Coach Kavanaugh said, because I think he was from Miami area. Are you? What part of South Florida are you in?
I'm in Fort Myers, so that's West Coast. So yep. Miami's East Coast, about 3 hours away from me.
You're right below Tampa.
Yeah. Just 2 hours, with good old Tom Brady, the GOAT, doing some big things last night.
So we've really talked and discussed, the strength and conditioning profession with collegiate and professional coaches. I believe you're one of our first high school strength and conditioning coaches on the podcast. As a professional, where do you see the major differences between the different levels, and what are you trying to do at your institution to help develop those athletes so they're ready for that next step in their personal and athletic development and growth?
I think for me, like one of the biggest things I have to work on is just getting the buy-in to the process. This is my 4th year at my school here at Canterbury School, and it's a private school, so it was a little different for me. I was coming from a big public school and coming over here and just really getting the kids to buy in and to trust the process. And, obviously we're doing so much work with these kids as far as, making sure corrective form and all that stuff. But really, I think the big thing for me is getting the kids to buy into the process, showing up with a purpose every single day, and understanding that, this is what we deal with high school is the instant gratification. So they walk in and they expect, automatically they're going to bench press 225 after one session. So you're trying to get the kids to understand, like, you got to buy into this process. We got to make sure we delay gratification a little bit more, and really to get into that buy-in process of the mundane stuff that we do over and over again is eventually going to add up to the big picture. But I think for me, like one of the biggest things is building that connection with each kid and getting that buy-in and make sure they understand that this is going to be a long process, but we are working with them every single day to make sure whatever they're trying to go after, like we're going to be right next to them, going after it with them.
Well, and one of the gentlemen that we have in common, Coach Boone, it's that daily stacking wins.
Yeah.
It's that stacking wins on a daily basis. And I think one of the greatest gratifications, especially with the youth of today, is that there are no shortcuts in the weight room. Like, you got to show up and you got to put in the work,
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, like what we're trying to do, and it's tough because you got to lower the expectations. Like, we can't put, and Mark, Jeremy talks about this, and we can't have our expectations on the ceiling every single day, because what's going to happen is, especially with the young kids' mindset, is if their expectations are too high and they're not reaching it, what's going to happen? Those kids aren't going to want to show up the next day and work hard, because it's like, well, damn, I didn't get to this crazy expectations today, and they're automatically beating themselves up mentally. So what we do a lot of work with is, like you said, we want to stack those wins. We put those expectations down to the floor. Like, what is one small little thing I can do every single day? And then we start stacking that momentum, and then they start buying into, okay, I got to keep my expectations here, get that momentum rolling. And then you start to see that big difference, that change of mindset, where it's like, yes, I didn't meet my big expectations, but guess what? I'm getting this small expectation every single day. And we kind of use with our athletes, we do have a journal, and they do write down like the little small wins they have every single day. So when they are having a moment, they can go back in their notebook and be like, you know what? I'm pretty good at this thing called life. I had all these good things happen throughout the week. So again, it's like the big thing with the young student athletes is this mindset part, and getting the expectations off the ceiling, bring it down where it's something they can achieve every single day to get that momentum rolling. And then that's when you start to see the growth, because part of the problem is a lot of our kids, I find, kind of believe in themselves conditionally rather than unconditionally, where they're waiting for something good to happen. And then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm in. Let me keep rolling here. Like, I need something good to happen for me to believe in myself. And we work so hard with our athletes about having that unconditional belief. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't get your goal or that mission for that day, it's not going to change the value of who you are. You have to believe in yourself 100%. every single day, no matter what happens, what obstacles we face, what adversity we're hitting, because hell, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Like we still need to fight through this every day. So getting the kids to understand that we can't believe in ourselves conditionally. We have to have that unconditional belief, because when you have that, you can take on any battle that life throws at you.
I think one of the things is, like, I deal with people that, you know, are trying to lose weight, and I go, okay, instead of trying to lose weight this week, how about we don't gain any weight? Let's start
Yes.
there. Week one, don't gain weight. Okay, and then we'll talk about realistic goals about, you know, why we don't want you to lose more than 2 pounds a week, because it's not gonna be sustainable.
Right.
You know, and like you said, setting them up for success in a realistic manner. You know, everybody wants to, you know, bench 2.25, 36 times, run a 4.340, and have a 36-inch vertical. There are not too many people in the world that can do those 3 things.
Sometimes I still think I can, but no, not even close.
Coach, on that theory of the kids learning that unconditional faith in themselves, have you seen athletes go on to the next level without mastering that?
Honestly, I really haven't. Like it really comes down, because I mean, trying to get to that professional level, like if you can't believe in, because these guys, like, it's such a small percentage that makes it. Like if you don't believe in yourself unconditionally, I mean, with the athletes I've worked with, I haven't seen it happen. I can't speak for everyone, but I know with the ones that I've worked for and worked with, it was always like, no matter what, they're like, no, I'm still good, coach. I'm still rolling. Let's go. And so I've seen it, you know, personally. I haven't seen anyone with that conditional belief make it, but I can't speak for everyone, but I just know on my personal side, I've seen a lot make it with that unconditional.
Now dealing with the high school and the youth mindset, how do you develop that? I mean, for a lot of the youth today, they're not allowed to fail. And I think one of the ways that you become confident in who you are and in your abilities is by failing forward and failing a lot. And I think a lot, what has happened today is a lot of parents have gotten in the way of their children and allowing them to fail. How do you develop that within your program and with the different athletes that you're working with?
I think the big piece of this, Mark, and I know we talk about this a lot, it really starts with us as the coaches and the example that we're setting. And if I'm telling a kid that they need to believe in themselves unconditionally, like one of my promises to every athlete I work with is I'm going to believe in them no matter what. And it really comes back to my actions. Like I can't just say it like, hey, Billy, I believe in you. And then next thing you know, Billy's not doing what he's doing. I just forget about him. And then I go to my quote unquote star athlete and pour into him. For me, I'm trying to treat every single kid like they are my star athlete, like my dream athlete. So it really starts with us as coaches. Like, what are the connections we're building with our kids? And do our kids really feel like we have their back 100% of the time, whether they fail, whether they succeed? Like, I don't want my kids to see me celebrate them just when they do something good. Like, I try to be purposeful and intentional about just celebrating our kids just to celebrate them. Like, I don't need them to go hit a PR in the weight room or go run a 4.3. Like, I'm just going to celebrate you because you're here, man. Like, I want to pour into every single kid because our time as coaches is so short with our kids. Like, if you look at a high school athlete, if I only have them for 4 years, it's such a small percentage of their life. So for me, it's about creating the environment and the experience and making sure each kid has a defining moment throughout their 4 years or however long. If I'm lucky to have them 6, 7, 8, I have some athletes I've worked with for the past 15 years. It's like, I'm going to believe in you no matter what. I'm going to pour into every athlete the same way. No one gets treated differently. And it really comes back to my actions. I got to make sure my actions are louder than my words and I show up the same person every single day, because then the kids are going to trust you. And that's one of the things, like, we just can't assume kids are going to trust us and believe in us and follow us no matter what. Like, That's something we have to earn as coaches every single day.
I think we had Coach Kavanaugh on, and I think what he said was, our job as coaches is not to kill anybody's dream.
Yeah.
The athletes come to you with goals, expectations, and dreams, and our job is to pour it, like you said, pour into them, and try and do our best to make those goals and dreams happen for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
You're not a dream
like,
killer.
I can't even imagine, like, someone coming in like, okay, good luck with that one. Like, we just have to pour into our kids every single day. And it's crazy to just think like that some people are just like, they don't buy into their kids' dream. Like, this is something like, this is what I signed up to do. Like, it's so much bigger than me. Like, I'm trying to make sure the next generation is even better than me. Like, that's my mindset coming into work every single day is, and I kind of talk about this. We talk about legacy a lot on our campus. And it's like, my legacy isn't about the dreams I accomplished. Like, my legacy is going to be the dreams I inspire in the next generation and into other people. So it's about pouring into other people and doing something beyond ourselves and making sure we're not dream killers. Like, we are the ones that are pushing our kids every single day to grow, to go after that dream. It may or may not happen, but if we can push our kids to find the next version of themselves every single day, then I'm doing my job right. And that's what I signed up to do.
I agree with you a lot. I think, fear of failure is a big driver for a lot of us in a lot of different things. And for me as a coach and a parent, me failing to make my kids or my athletes not better than me is one of my biggest fears. Like that's your job, full stop.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, because that's one of the things we talk about. It's like, we got to have that sense of urgency. Like, what's at stake if we don't get our kids to the next level or at least close to their dreams? So again, that's like you said, Chris, like, that's my driver. Like, I got to make sure I'm showing up every single day with the intent, like, damn, like, I don't even know if tomorrow's guaranteed. Like, with all the stuff that's going on with the pandemic, like, think about 3 years ago when sports just shut down. That's never happened in my life before. And it was like, damn, like, that brought me back to reality. Like, we were taking so many things for granted. I was taking for granted that the weight room was going to be open every single day. I was going to be able to coach. I was going to be able to do my thing every single day. And then all of a sudden that was taken away. So it was a great moment in my life where I was able to hit pause and say, you know what? I got to do more for these kids, because now we realize, like, nothing's guaranteed. So my sense of urgency now is like, I'm showing up every single day. Like, I need to earn each day and make sure it's a better day for each one of our kids.
One of the things that we've got to ask a couple of the college coaches is to kind of take us through the timeline of an incoming freshman to when they're a senior. It's really interesting that we get to see this perspective from you from high school. So kind of take us through that incoming freshman, and I'll let you divide it up how you want. If you want to go through all 4 years, or if you want to divide it between kind of underclassmen and upperclassmen, but take us through the development physically, mentally, and spiritually or emotionally for your incoming ninth graders through 12th grade.
You can say spiritually. It's okay.
And spiritually too, if you like.
We're okay, Chris.
It's okay. Nobody's going to get mad.
Thanks, guys.
That's awesome.
Full support here in this group.
Oh, we're 100% behind you, Chris. But I mean, really, like, for me, like, my first thing when I first meet a incoming freshman is, one, I'm trying to connect with them beyond just the athlete mode. I got to figure out who this kid is, what makes him tick, like, how am I going to be able to coach him? What's going to make him respond? So really, it's about the first few weeks is all about just developing that relationship. And then obviously, once we're in the weight room or we're on the field or wherever we're at, whatever sport they're getting ready for, is making sure, we're developing that foundation for them and really just watching them progress. I'm thinking, like, from freshman year to senior year, just seeing that progression. But really pouring into them and making sure they're learning this growth mindset. And really, it's like we're trying to set up each of our kids to do something more than just being an athlete. And that's the big thing for me, is making sure our kids have the skill set for all facets of life, being able to have principles, missions to live by, but really just seeing that progression from that freshman year, that they don't even know who they are, they don't know what they're doing, and just really working with them on self-identity. Obviously the physical part, we're gonna crank up as they progress, get better, their training age gets a little bit better. That for me, that's always been the easiest part, is the physical part and going through the training progressions with our athletes. But it's just really getting our kids to understand who they are, where they want to go. And then by senior year, my mission is to hopefully they all know like who they are, where they're going, and how to get there.
Mark, I imagine you can address this from, a college perspective, but, I'd say for the most part, once someone gets to you, they're going to develop physically from that freshman year in college to the senior year, but they're almost done growing, right? But what you're seeing, Coach Booth, I mean, these kids coming in as freshmen, I mean, the difference between their freshman year and their senior year has got to be absolutely dramatic.
And honestly, that's the best part of my job, is seeing that progress. And then we always talk about, if they do want to go on to play college sports, like we always talk about the domino effect with our kids, where we're trying to prepare our kids to be the best athlete when they step onto a college campus. Like they're ready to go mentally, physically, they're all leaders, like they get it. Because the domino effect is, if I send the kid from Canterbury and they're ready to roll when they get to college, the college coach is going to be like, damn, we might need some more Canterbury athletes. So I'm going to come back down to the Canterbury School. And now we start having this domino effect where each generation now is now getting a look because of what that senior did when they stepped on campus their freshman year. So really for me, it's making sure our athletes, when they step onto that college campus, like the college coaches are coming back down here to get more of our athletes.
That's interesting, because we've asked a lot of the college coaches, what would you prefer? Would you prefer an athlete that has experience in the weight room or one that doesn't? And the results are kind of mixed, but a lot of them always said that there's some of these athletes that come from these great high school programs that have a good strength and conditioning program, and they're ready to go. There's a lot of stuff that they can teach them right off the bat.
Right. And again, it's just setting them up. Like if they're ready to go day one, like you're setting their path up to be a little better than someone who's not ready to roll.
I mean, it wasn't uncommon for me to have athletes at the collegiate level. It was their first time in a weight room.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, for me, when I stepped in college, that was the first time I was ever in the weight room as a track and field athlete. I didn't know what the heck was going on. And my coach kind of just took me, he locked me in the weight room and said, I'll see you in 2 months. I was like, what just happened to my life? So I get that part of it, Mark, because I had never touched the weight until my freshman year of college. So I was a little behind the curve when I started.
Oh yeah, and people don't understand, like at the high school level, probably very rarely are 8th graders in a weight room in a structured program, knowing what to do, knowing the difference. Very simple, the difference between a dumbbell, kettlebell, and a free weight bar. I mean, a barbell. So it's like, for me, sometimes I got that at the collegiate level. At the higher level, collegiately, you really don't see that. Most of the freshmen that are walking into the weight room for the first time at if they're at a Power 5 school, they've usually been in a weight room before once or twice. Doesn't mean they like it, but it's still there. At least they're familiar with it, and they will have a foot up on the other people that are coming in that have never been in a weight room before. So I love when I can get in contact with the high school coaches. I think you guys are doing a great job, your national organization, compared to the collegiate level coaches who just can't seem to get the hell out of their own way. But one of the things I really want to talk to you about is the leadership academy that you have down there at the Canterbury School. We were lucky enough to be in the same group with Jeremy Boone with his program. I'll have you talk more about that because you're still in the program. You went to the next level. I have not yet. gone to the next level.
We're gonna get you there.
But don't worry, Boone, I'll be there. I'll be a
We
disruptive.
support you. We support you, Mark.
I will be a
Oh, yeah.
disruptive force. I will be a disruptive force in the next group, just like I was in the first group.
We're gonna support you spiritually too for Chris. So we
Yes,
got you. We got you.
absolutely.
100%. 100%.
Spiritual support for you for leadership.
I think I need more emotional. I need more emotional support. So Matt, talk to me about the programs that you were with Coach Boone. Dive into that a little bit more, and then really dive into the Leadership Academy that you have established at the Canterbury School, and how the buy-in has been for the student athletes there.
All right, yeah, definitely. So what's really cool, Mark, is this kind of all happened randomly for me, and this is what 3 years ago when we all got sent home for the pandemic. And like I was saying, like it was the first time I got to hit pause in my life and figure out, what am I doing? Like, how am I going to grow as a coach? And I came across Coach Boone, Jeremy Boone, and I'm telling you, man, like got into the Winning Leader Academy, and it was just, that was what I was missing. Like really being able to dive into the leadership component for student athletes. And, we went through Winning Leader. Then I went on to a smaller group, the Leader Kit group. And then for the past year, we've been doing the Desire to Lead program, which is an online program specifically for student athletes to teach them and give them the language of what it means to be a follow-worthy leader. And what's awesome about Desire to Lead is, we're starting September 20th. We jump on for 8 weeks, and we have kids from across the US, up in Canada. So these kids are able to connect with kids from different schools and really work through language of leader. Like, what does it mean to be a follow-worthy leader? Like beyond having the title. And here's the problem in high school sports is we give these kids the title of captain, but then we don't teach them what it means to be a captain, right? It's like, all right, hey, Johnny, guess what? You're captain. Good luck. And Johnny's like, what the hell? What am I supposed to do, coach? Like, so what's awesome is like, giving them the fundamental tools. What is leadership? What is like a working definition of leadership? We work through developing through the language of story, like getting the kids to buy into their story. Like, what is the story of their program? Where do you want to take this program? We talk about the mission, like we talked about earlier, like what is the mission? What is one small thing like their team can do every single day to get to this big promised land? We have our kids working through guiding principles because I'll tell you right now, like kids are very emotional, right? They kind of make decisions based on their feelings. So we have our kids work through 5 or 6 guiding principles that's going to help them, guide them when they don't feel like doing something. Because we all have those days where we wake up and like, you know what? Coach Mark's going to have this crazy workout. I'm not going. Like Chris is crazy, man. He wants me to run all these damn sprints. Like I'm not feeling it. So giving these kids the principles that they can live by so they're not getting caught up in their feelings. We're optimizing their behaviors. We're helping them work through their self-identity. We're helping them establish the culture. So it's so much bigger than just being named captain. We're trying to give these kids the tools to be the next generation of great leaders. Because I'll tell you right now, like our world with everything going on, like we need more leaders to step up. And it's our responsibility as coaches is not to get more followers. I don't care how many followers I have. It's about setting up the next generation of leaders to make our future a better spot.
Well, not only leaders, but I think one of the big things is to be a follow-worthy leader.
Right. And we kind of see that all the time. Like so many people have the title of leader, but are they really that leader you want to follow? Or do they just assume you're going to follow them because they have the title?
Exactly. And I think a lot of people, when you said being a captain, like I'm from a generation when it's a big deal. And it's not always the best player on the team. A lot of times it is nowadays. It's the best player, it's the captain. Well, okay. I mean, maybe the best player doesn't want to be the leader and doesn't have the skills to be the leader of the team. And I think you'll see that now a lot in professional sports where you'll have the best athlete or the best player on the team is the captain, but like they're not the captain. Like there's other people in the locker room. Like Tom Brady doesn't need to be called the captain for the Buccaneers to be the leader of that team. You know, he'll just put up 7 fingers and go, guys, we can get another one, or you can do whatever the hell you're doing. And I think when you get a program, and I think this is where you're going with Canterbury, when you get the culture to be a certain way, and everybody starts on day one understanding the expectations and the goals. And you know, as we've talked about, the promised land the mission statement has to be in line with the promised land. If they're not going hand in hand together, it's not going to work.
Right.
You know, if your goal, and I think when we started, your goal was for your football team to win a state title.
Yeah.
But if their actions on a daily basis weren't in line with that promised land, then that promised land's unrealistic and not going to be achievable. It's just the way it happens. And I think, you know, with what Coach Boone taught us, is the power of story and the power of language, you know, and how they have to be intent. There has to be intention behind what you're saying and what you're doing. And if your actions aren't in line with your words or your goals, then you got to fix the equation, you know. So
yeah, I mean, you're exactly right, man. And you know, listening to you say all this stuff, like one of the big questions I always ask our kids is like, hey, do you guys live your mission, or do you have to have a mission statement held up as a billboard? Because if you're living your mission, like I shouldn't have to go up and ask you like, hey, Sam, what's your mission? Or Sarah, what's your mission? Like I should know what your mission is based on your actions. And that's kind of the philosophy that we're trying to get on our campus. And what's awesome about our school, like, you know, we're a smaller private school, but our headmaster is 100% behind this. And we've actually developed a leadership team on our campus. So now, like Mark, you were talking about language, like we're trying to get some common language across the board, whether it be in academics, athletics, the arts. So we're working hard on our language so everyone knows what it means to be a leader. And we talk about a lot, like you were saying with Tom Brady, like you don't need a title to be a leader. And we're trying to get our kids to understand that everyone has a platform. Like leadership isn't something beyond us. Like it's not this huge thing. We got to take leadership off the pedestal. Like it doesn't have to be this big extraordinary thing to be a leader. Like leadership is something within all of us. And we're really trying to get our kids to embrace their platform. And it's really about just doing small things for each other every single day. And if we do these small things, it's just saying, hey, Chris, what's going on, man? You having a good day? It could be something as small as that, where Chris is fighting a battle. I have no idea what's going on in Chris's life, but with me checking in, we're building that culture where across the board, again, academics, our arts, our athletic program, our Canterbury like parents and families, we're trying to get this common language where we're just trying to pour into each other every single day and doing something small and understanding that leadership isn't this huge thing. It's something within all of us. We just have to have the courage to embrace our platform and do something bigger for each other every day.
I think it's real interesting that you touched on that everyone should learn leadership, because you could look back in history and there's a lot of examples where leadership is not always benevolent. And typically the people who are weak follow that leader into some of the worst things that have happened in history. So, you know, having everyone as a leader kind of negates that possibility of someone strong who doesn't have the right intentions taking over society. So I think that's a really, really important point. Could you guys tell us a little bit about this leadership program? Is it a coaching program that gives you a framework to give the kids and then the kids receive it through you?
Yeah, so with the Winning Leader Academy, that is specifically for coaches. And again, it's giving you the follow-worthy language. It's talking about story. We go through working through those guiding principles. We work on establishing culture. So there's a whole bunch of different frameworks that you go through as coaches. And then it's one of those things. It's like, as a coach, like, how are you going to take that information and bring it to your kids? So for me, like, I went like 100% in. Like, as soon as I went through the Winning Leader Academy, I had the chance to go to the Leader Kit, which is an extension of the Winning Leader Academy. And that's how I was able to establish our own academy here on our campus called the Cougars Captains Academy. So it's taking those frameworks and then kind of tweaking it to your own program. And again, it's like, it's taking that information, and some people just take it in to take it in, but I took it in where it's like, no, I'm running with this so I can make sure we're providing the best opportunities for our kids on our campus. I don't know, Mark, I don't know if you want to speak on that as well.
No, I thought that was phenomenal. I mean, I think, you know, it was in a time in my life where, you know, my facility got shut down. So I was looking to better myself. And Jeremy came into my life through another program that I was in. I saw him, I believe it was through the Play Academy. And that's how I first met Jeremy. And then I got into the Winning Leader Academy, and that's how I met Matt. It's also how I met Molly, and how I met Leanne, and how I met Coach Gotch. I mean, I met a bunch of people who, you know, and I think what a lot of people need to understand, when you're dealing with like minds, you know, I said it this morning, there's a reason lions don't worry about sheep. I mean, and we're all lions. I mean, we're not sheep. We're not, you know, I'm never going to be confused for a sheep. There's no part of me that is a sheep. I mean, I'm a lion, I'm an alpha, and I like to be around like minds and the like thought process. So Jeremy came into my life, and I'm still trying to get him on this damn podcast, but he doesn't return so next time you talk with him, Matt, give him some hell, because I have now had 2 coaches from Winning Leader Academy on it, but I haven't had the head guy.
Just a side note, from our training sessions, I would liken you to more of a silverback gorilla than a lion, but that's just me.
I'm cool with that too. I like gorillas.
Very good. I like that.
I like gorillas much more than I like lions. I mean, I think they're cooler.
Could that be the quote of the day, Mark? We might make a t-shirt out of this one.
Sure. Gorilla greater than lion.
Yeah, that's your new guiding principle. I like it.
But you know, and I think this generation coming up has got a kind of a bad rap on it. I mean, Matt, obviously you can speak a little greater on that. But I think it's because they've been sheltered and they haven't had that opportunity to lead. I mean, in order to become a leader, you need the opportunity to lead. Yeah. I mean, especially where you look at, you know, you can't be a leader when you're doing remote learning. You just can't. True. I mean, you need to be set into a social aspect. You need to be in a team environment in order to develop these leadership qualities. What do you see going forward with your leadership academy? What do you see? How do you see the growth of it? And first and foremost, for the whole school to buy into the program, phenomenal job on your end. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is the fact that you have the whole campus on the same language, where the athletic department's not talking different than the academic part, not talking different than the leadership of the school, and not talking different than the parents group from the school. All four aspects of what makes up the school are all on the same page as far as language, which now makes it clearer for the students and the athletes on the expectations of what is expected of them as a Canterbury student or a Canterbury athlete. So just talk, if you can dive a little more deeper into that and how you see the growth of the program helping out the Canterbury School and the student athletes as they progress onto the next level.
Definitely, and listening to you talk about where you said kids need the opportunity to lead. That's one of the biggest things we talk about is leadership is an invitation. We have to invite our kids and say, you know what? I believe in you to be a leader. Like sometimes kids just need that. They need someone to say, I believe in you as a leader. So like you're saying, like having that common language, that's one of the biggest culture builders that you can have on your campus. So just thinking about like 2 years ago when we started the Cougars Captain Academy, because we were on remote learning, I did it as a Zoom session, but now we're on campus, we're in person. And what's really cool now is we're running 3 sessions throughout our school year. So all our fall sports captains are going through this leadership academy now. So what's really cool is now we're working through like real life scenarios. So as they're going through their season, the captain can bring up different scenarios they're going through within their team. Like we had a scenario where, some of the kids were missing workouts and our captains didn't know how to address that conversation. So we're able to have those conversations with the kids. So they're able to work through their season. And again, it's not just saying, okay, you're the leader, good luck. These are giving our kids like real life scenarios, working through them during their season. And then we're going to do the same thing for our winter sports and our spring sports. So already this year has really expanded. We've brought on 4 other coaches who are working with me for helping me through the academy. So again, it's getting buy-in from your coaching staff. So now all the coaching staff is getting behind the language. And so now the kids are getting different perspectives. So it's just not coming from Coach Booth every single day. Like everyone now on our campus is starting to speak the language. And what's really cool is just watching some of the kids who 2-3 years ago, they were like the quiet kid that didn't say anything, like was just kind of sitting in the corner. And now like I see a multiple where they're like the leaders on their team and just seeing them step up. And they even have the conversation like, Coach, I would never have done this like 2-3 years ago. And I'm like, well, damn, I was in the same boat. Like I never thought like I'd be doing leadership academies. Like for me, like I always kind of protected the label, and this is my own fault. Like I protected the label of just being a strength and conditioning coach. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to pour into just strength and conditioning. Really not supposed to get involved in academics or the arts. So I think what's been cool is the kids watching my progression too as a coach, where, I'm about to be 42 years old, but I'm still busting my butt to be better every single day. And like doing all this stuff, even talking to you guys, this wasn't in my script 5 years ago. Like I wouldn't be doing this stuff. And so it's kind of been cool. Like we're feeding off of each other's energy. And that's one of the things we talk about quite a lot is energy mirrors energy. And they see me, I'm a spaz all day. Like I run around this campus like a madman, but it's just been a really fun process watching the kids grow as leaders. And then even myself, like I'm teaching a honors class now, a success principles class with our headmaster. Again, none of this stuff would have been possible 3 years ago because I was protecting the label of just being a strength and conditioning coach. And once I dropped that label and really stepped into who I wanted to become, like it's been feeding off on our campus. And again, like we all have this universal language now. We have a leadership team. Like we're trying to do something bigger for our campus and then going out to Southwest Florida. Like we don't want to just do it here at Canterbury. Like we want our kids to understand like the little ripple effect where if we start building this culture here, like we could be like that small stone in the water, just creating a ripple that goes across Southwest Florida and everyone starts buying into this mindset and just watching our whole community grow, not just our campus.
Has that participation in other areas of the school helped you to get that buy-in that you're trying to develop in the weight room?
Yeah, I think that's been a big piece for me was, stepping out of my comfort zone and getting out on campus and getting the word out. And now you see more and more kids like we have a lift program now called Leadership Institute for Tomorrow, and a bunch of kids jumping on that. And again, we're starting to get all these little leadership committees on our campus. And now we're a pre-K to 12th grade. So now it's trickling down to the middle school, and the middle school is now like the mentors for our lower school. So now it's like upper school, middle school, lower school, everyone's kind of going for this common purpose, this common drive. And it's been really cool to watch this past year or so.
Well, as long as everybody in the boat's rowing in the same direction, right?
Yeah. We're all going. I think we're going north right now. We're good. We're moving up in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand that, especially, strength and conditioning coaches that are listening to this. I mean, you got to stop staying in the weight room. You got to get outside of it. I mean, if you're on a major Division I campus, you got to get to the other side. You got to let yourself be known. So, I mean, you basically got to make yourself indispensable so that, when the administration, if the team has a losing season, they're not looking at the weight room as that's the reason we're losing. Make yourself available outside of the four walls of the weight room and make yourself an important cog in the wheel.
Yeah, it's true, man. Because I mean, think about how many people we come in contact every single day as a strength and conditioning coach. Like, what was awesome was like my headmaster, when I was hired here, he was like, I want the weight room to be like the hub because I want, and that's what it is. Like, I get to see everyone on campus, and then I get to know them what's really cool this year is seeing them both on the academic side, because now I'm teaching on the academic side, and then seeing them on the athletic side. So that has been a lot of fun for me is now. And it's so funny when the kids see me walk into the upper school when I'm Professor Booth. It's so funny watching their reaction. Like, Coach, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, I'm teaching the class. I'm like, what the hell? So that's been fun. Like that whole part of it has been fun too. And it's just like I said, it's just kind of been, we all been feeding off of each other's energy. Like the kids have been making me better every single day, and vice versa. I'm hoping I'm making them better every single day. So it's been a really fun process.
Coach, talk to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders and their parents. What's the best thing that they can be doing right now over the course of the next 1 to 3 years to prepare themselves to have a successful high school athletic career on the field or the court and in the weight room?
So what we do here is we try to do, we have a functional fitness hour for our middle school. So we really work with our kids as far as doing the developmental stuff, a lot of the body weight stuff. My background is in track and field, so I do a lot of sprint mechanic work and running mechanics. So really for us, like we do a lot of functional stuff with our 6th through 8th graders. So like I said, when they do get to high school, like they're ready to roll, so they're not behind the curve. So what's really cool is I have a intern with me now from Florida Gulf Coast University, and he's going to kind of take ownership of the functional fitness. So he's going to have an opportunity to work with the 6th through 8th graders, kind of run his own program, help him out to develop as a coach. And then, obviously the big mission is to make sure our middle school kids, once they make that transition, like they're ready to go.
Awesome.
I think what most coaches need to understand that if you can coach elementary level kids, you can coach anybody.
Yeah.
My jiu-jitsu professor, he's like, Mark, I never became a good professor, good teacher until I had to teach 3-year-olds how to do jiu-jitsu. He's like, 3-year-olds don't know their left from their right. So
no, they don't. So, I got a soon-to-be 6-year-old who's running around the house, so I know.
Yeah, so it's like, and I think everybody wants to work with that superstar. Everybody wants to work with. You'll love this reference, the Sammy Watkins of the world.
Yes.
But the reality is if you want to work with the Sammy Watkins, you got to be able to work with the Fred Sanfords of the world. And a lot of young people won't get the Fred Sanford reference, but look it up, Google it, you'll have fun. But that's the reality. I mean, if you want to develop as a coach, you're not going to get to that elite level athlete without putting your time and experience and putting your coaching reps in at that lower level. Not that it's just a lower level as far as the ability goes. I mean, I'm not saying that the lower level is a bad place. It's where most people are. You know, the people that get to the Sammy Watkins level, they're, you know, the 0.1%. So.
And that's why I absolutely love working at the high school level. And you did reference Sammy, and just watching all of our kids go from that training age of like 0, where they knew nothing, to see them progress every single day. And what's big for me is watching all these kids grow and develop into amazing husbands or wives or fathers and mothers. Like, that to me is so much more important than whether you're the elite athlete, where you make it to the professional level. Like, I absolutely love watching the progression, obviously on the physical side, but watching them become successful people, being those husbands, fathers, mothers, wives. That's the best part for me.
That's what I've said since day one on this podcast. Yeah, it's great. It's great to win championships. It's nice to put banners up. But at the end of the day, if that athlete's a douchebag, they just have nice jewelry and they're still not a good person.
Exactly.
So, and then I feel I haven't done my job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I messed that up.
Right.
If you were with me 4 years and you didn't grow as a person and became a better person for our daily interaction, I didn't do my job. You know,
100%.
I can say wholeheartedly that for all those athletes that have had 4 years or more with me, I believe not only have they become a better person for our relationship, but I know I've gotten better as a human being for our relationship. So for all the athletes that I've worked with, thank you. Because it is a privilege. I mean, you could go work with anybody in the world that you want to, but like, why am I going to go work with Mark instead of Matt? Or why am I going to work with Matt instead of Chris? Or why am I going to work with Chris instead of Mark? I mean, we're all three of us are probably doing something very similar. And that's just the reality of it. Tim Grover, I love you to death, but I don't think you're doing anything very different than Mark Verstegen or Al Vermeil or Mike Boyle or anybody else in the game. So thank you guys, though.
And I think a big part of that, Mark, is understanding like each athlete chooses to follow you. It's just not given. So for me, like you said, it is a privilege. I treat every single day like a privilege. Like, I have to earn my title. Like, kids aren't just going to follow me because it says Coach Booth outside my office door. Like, that is something I have to earn every single day. I have to earn their trust every single day. Because again, trust isn't something that's given. Like, these are things we have to earn every single day. And that's one of my big principles is I earn each day. I earn each title, whether it's earning the title of being a husband, earning the title of being a father, being a coach, being a mentor, being a peer. Like, I have to make sure I earn that every single day because it's not given, and it's a privilege, like you said, to have these people want to rally around you and then see them come back and still want to work with you. Like, that speaks volumes to what you're doing every single day on your campus or working with your kids.
Awesome.
You know how good you are. You know how good you are as a coach when the athletes that you've worked with have disposable income now and can work with anybody in the world, and they choose to come back and work with you.
It's true. I mean,
that's just the reality of it.
It's a very humbling experience, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the future hold for you, Coach? What's the next step?
So a couple things I'm working on. I did start my own LLC under my name, Coach Matt Booth. So really stepping out of my comfort zone here, but really expanding a little bit more, doing some more of these speaking engagements, doing some workshops, and really doing some stuff for myself and trying to expand professionally and by doing that, I'm going to be able to offer some more for my family and do some more stuff with my family. So that's one of the things I'm working on, just expanding that way with the own business. And again, still coming here to Canada, like I love being here at Canterbury. So I see myself being here for a long time and just pouring into our kids. But the next big adventure is kind of stepping up and running my own business as a side business. We are also with some of the athletes I work with, we're opening up a D1 sports complex down here. So I'll be doing some work there in the summertime, working with some of the high school athletes and doing some of the leadership academies within D1 sports. So a couple things coming up, couple adventures that I'm trying to do and expand as a person and professionally.
Awesome. If someone wants to reach out to you, where can they find you?
So my email is coachmattbooth1@gmail.com. And then you can find me on social media, Instagram or Twitter @Coach Matt Booth.
Awesome. Well, Coach, I want to thank you. It's been real nice meeting you. And I mean, I can tell just from talking to you that, you know, not only you repping out awesome athletes, but you're putting out great people too. And that's the name of the game. So nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. This has been awesome. If you guys need anything else, you know, hit me up. Mark, you know I got you. So we will jump on and do something again, man. But I really appreciate it, man. This was awesome.
Well, as you know, and as you've seen, when you post stuff, you get my emojis. So
yeah, man.
You get my
emoji.
You get my emoji. You get my emojis, and you get me reposting it. So keep putting out good content. Keep putting out good people. Because as you know, your athletes are a reflection of what a great person you are and what a great coach you are. So thank you very much, Matt, for the time today and your ongoing friendship. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. We will catch up real soon. Chris, awesome meeting you, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, man.
All right, fellas.
And that's all from us. We got a lot of things coming down the pike, a lot of great guests, a lot of new content coming out. We've got some software coming out, all kinds of great stuff happening at Athlete Hackers. And most importantly, all of the stuff that we've done already, you need to go back and listen to because there's so much good advice that's going to help you hack in to that athlete and make them a better person, make them a better athlete. My name is Chris Ray.
I saw what you did there. Athlete Hackers, hack in. Look at you. Look at you. All right. Who are you, by the way?
My name is Chris Schrade.
And I am Mark Spellman. We are the Athlete Hackers. All my best. God bless. Love you guys. Peace.
Peace.